So in this segment, we're going to be talking about Donald Tusk discussing a Breturn, as he put it, or Breturn, sorry, as he put it.
This is not just about emotions and sentiments. I am aware this is a dream of mine, that instead of a Brexit, we will have a Breturn. Perhaps I am labouring under an illusion.
I do find it funny. They kind of, I think one of the things like kind of British people or English people do is these kind of cute little nicknames they give, Britain leaving the EU, Brexit, all that kind of stuff. So he's kind of taken it a little bit himself, talking about Breturn, which is I don't know. I just find it amusing. Sorry, I'm kind of lame.
I'd rather be an optimist and harbour these dreams in my heart. Sometimes they come true in politics. But of course, we need the maximum rapprochement of Great Britain and the European Union. This concerns security, first and foremost, security and defence.
Which, that does make sense given that the Russian bear is still around and is still issuing threats.
I am certain there will be no political hurdles here. Certainly preparations and talks on other aspects of close cooperation between Britain and the EU are more challenging. However, the Polish presidency will extend patronage over all of these negotiations.
Okay, so, it's somewhat interesting, I guess, a Breturn, potentially. And we've got a Davey talking about how he's calling on the government to negotiate this year a brand new deal with the EU, which, that's not going to happen. I don't see that happening at all, to be honest with you.
Now, the Prime Minister has at least recognised the need to reset our relationship with the EU. But so far, I'm afraid, that only seems to amount to saying no more politely than the Conservatives.
That's a burn. He's not wrong, to be fair. He's gone around to all of these different countries and stuff. But he's ruled out certain. He's ruled out the agreement over youth mobility. So, especially given that the government keeps fear-mongering over immigration as well. It does look like it's a no at the moment, but we will be talking about that in a second after this clip.
The UK must be far more positive, far more ambitious, and act with far more urgency. That is why today I'm calling on the government to negotiate this year a brand new deal with the EU. Not just tinkering around the edges of the botched deal the Conservatives signed 4 years ago.
Not sure what that humming is in the background, it's not me.
But negotiating a better deal for Britain that has at its heart a new UK-EU customs union to come into force by 2030 at the latest.
So that is one of the new things he's kind of called for, is a customs union. Not the customs union, these are kind of two different things. Turkey has a customs union with the EU, for example. I see Max talking here about, fearing around cakeism. Don't know if Henning actually replied. Nope. But anyways, sorry, that's not dig at Max there. It's possible. I mean, the problem is we still haven't implemented our end of the deal fully, I think. So, yeah, there's still issues around our imports and such. And so, can I see the EU negotiating a new deal with us when you haven't really implemented the current deal? No. Do the EU really trust the UK, even this new Labour government? I don't really think so. I think they want to see the UK give in certain areas. You've got Antonella Guerrero. Sorry, I butchered your name, mate. But this is a person who is quite well connected, based on the people I see citing his work. It's just saying, EU sources tell me a youth mobility agreement between the UK and the EU is definitely going to happen. When this year in 2025 is understood that it might be under a different name, but it's going to happen. The UK government spokesperson denied, said there are no plans for a youth mobility scheme, and we will not return to freedom of movement. So maybe they want it under a different name, and they're just kind of, the EU do this where they'll get the key thing, the substantive thing they want, but they'll let you call it what you want, which is a banger song by Foster the People. But they will let you kind of name it, and things like that. But yeah, I don't. I personally don't see it happening. By the time this thing gets underway, I probably won't qualify for the youth mobility scheme because I think it's like age like 24 to 30 or something like that. So I hope they get a move on it. Not saying anyone over there is going to hire me, but point being is, yeah, this person here is optimistic what will happen. You've got pressure from the Lib Dems, kind of pushing Labour to be more pro EU. So we'll see if that goes. But then you'll have pressure from the Reform Party, making them go in the other direction. Because Nigel Farage, I think, is the biggest threat to the Labour Party at the moment. It's not the Lib Dems. I think it will be the Reform UK Party. So we'll see how that goes, because we know how he's going to talk about it, and we know the fact that the Labour Party actually have no guts in order to fight a battle of optics. They don't know how to. They don't have a good comms team. They don't know how to fight and argue for positions. They just crumble. That's all. The only positions they've held on to are, really the bad ones, like the winter fuel allowance, which they got into such a bad situation with. They couldn't U-turn on it because they fumbled it that badly. Imagine getting into such a mess where you can't even U-turn and get out. You can't spin out of it. But yeah, no, I found it quite interesting. He's talking about a Breturn, so we'll see how that goes. But anyways, I'm gonna leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can, and hopefully Breturn, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next one.